Okay, so today I'm making another unexpected video. I made a boo-boo in my scarf along the way. I was making a video as I was warping onto the back beam. And I started to realize like the tension was getting really, really hard to the point where I was actually seeing the pedals almost like they wanted to bend outwards. And I'm like, that can't be normal. So I started to do some investigation, and unfortunately, I realized that the thread that I was using, the yarn that I was using, was starting to get very fuzzy, I guess, by rubbing on itself, and it was causing literally knots between actual threads that could not be undone. At the beginning, I thought it was just two threads, so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to cut those out, I'm going to replace them, put some weights on the back to to hold them in place for the rest of the project. But I started to realize it was a lot of them going all the way through. And so the whole point of doing this project was not only to make a beautiful scarf, but I wanted the experience of using a table loom for the first time. And I wanted also the experience of using a loom that had more than 4 shafts. So working with yarn that was just not cooperating, to me, I felt that that was going to color my enjoyment not only of the project but also make me biased possibly too, right? So I didn't want that. So I ended up cutting all of it out, removing it off the loom, and I'm going to show you actually what I saw, and basically I've decided to replace it with Tencel. Okay, so let me show you what was happening on my warp here.
Okay, so this is the original yarn that I was using. It feels very soft to the touch. It's silk merino. So my understanding from other weavers I talked to is that silk is very strong. Merino is very nice and soft. But you'll also notice that, well, I don't know if you can see up close or not, but it can get quite, like, it has a little bit of a fuzziness to it. It's kind of sticky, is the only thing I can think of. And so what was happening is you can see here, okay, like these two threads, for example, here, okay, if you take a look, right, they've combined together into like a knot, right? And so, whether, and again, these were obviously through a heddle at the time. So I could potentially try and pull them apart, but like you're having a hard time breaking all of these, right? And so, and there were several of them. Like as I was going through, right, I could see, right, like there's another bunch of threads here that from rubbing together, they made this knot. Same thing here as well, and all the way through, which I found really frustrating to deal with. And it was actually affecting also these sheds, because when I was putting down the harnesses, to lower the harnesses, they wouldn't lower the full amount, because again, these were interfering. So I thought, you know what, enough of that. I didn't end up using a whole lot. I only used a couple of balls of this, so that's fine. It wasn't a huge loss, like financially or anything like that. Just a lot of time, which is really sad. So I've decided to switch to Tencel. And so I'm doing a nice navy blue Tencel. It is strong. I've gotten some opinions of other weavers that it should do a beautiful job. So I will go back and redo everything and bring myself back to the point of warping it on the bag beam, so I can continue on with my next video there. So the reason I wanted to make a video was just to show you, I guess, not every yarn or thread should be used for warp. Obviously, if it's easily breakable, you don't want to be using it for a warp. But also, what I did not realize is that if it's fuzzy, right? I've used acrylic yarns for my hospice blankets, as you know. I've never had, obviously, any of these issues. So this is the first time I'm encountering this. As a knitter, this would not have been a big, huge issue as a knitter either, right? Because it's not constantly rubbing back and forth. But I guess through the process of warping from front to back, there was, probably some back and forth in the heddles possibly, or in the reed, which ended up doing this, which is quite a pain, which is sad, because it is a beautiful yarn. It would have felt great, obviously, to use it as a scarf, but again, I just did not want to continue on with a project that was just going to cause me hassle after hassle. All right, so I will get back to warping my new with my new Tencel there, and catching up to where I was before. All right. I hope that helps. Please learn through my mistakes so you don't experience it, because I have to say I did shed a few tears when I realized what I needed, what I needed to do for myself instead of all the hard-earned work. Now, you could have, as I said, gone through each one of these threads, cut it out somehow, rethread it, and have a weight hanging off the back, basically, so that You could, not have to rewarp everything, but again, I figured that this would just keep happening as I went through the weaving process, which, again, it would not have, it would just been a constant issue throughout the entire scarf. So I decided myself not to do that, but again, you might, decide that you'd rather do that than cut it out. It might be less painful for you. All right, guys, have a great day.